Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build a model kit and to hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the Tier 2 blue emote in the chat. If you are currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you are not yet a subscriber, you can say hi or use other people's emotes. Or if you want to be a lurker, go ahead and lurk. It's fine to lurk. Ghost Valve is here. Aristophan is here. Hello to both of you. Reminder, it's September, and you can save money by being a subscriber. I said, if you're not yet a subscriber, now is a great time to get the fuck on board. I'm going to look up the deal again here. So, for the entire month of September, you want to get a month of subscription? You want to spend $5? No, you will spend 25% less than that. Get 25% off. You want to get 3 months? 25% off that. You want to get 6 months? 30% off. If you want to buy 6 months of streaming, of being a subscriber, I should say, get that 30% off. And then, around September 26th till October 1st, you can get a discount if you gift a sub. You can't get that discounted gift sub from now till the 26th. That costs $5 as usual. If you want to gift a sub somebody in the community, you could do that. These are all things you could do. You don't have to do any of that. I'm just letting you know that if you like a streamer, maybe me, maybe somebody else, then you should save money by subscribing. Lord Crash says, hey, Pat. Hey, Lord Crash said, Pat's serious about September when he curses. Yes. I only curse when I'm serious. Or mad, or seriously mad. But yeah, I mean, just you know how it goes. The agenda for this evening. We started on Saturday the Mk-II AEUG. AEUG, AEUG. We're just going to call it the AEUG. We've gotten most of the chest done on the AEUG, and we will continue to work on this kit. We're going to apply our first stickers, and then we're going to apply the shoulder pieces and the front. Can't say no to that. Yes, indeed. David, yes. Then we're going to work on the head of the AEUG, and I believe, there are some options of stickers here, which is cool. So I have some options with these stickers, but there are a lot of stickers on the head, because of course there are. And then we'll work on the right arm. This is a kit from 2015, but it was reissued in 2022, so this is not plastic from 2015, but it is a design from 2015, which is fine. I would describe this kit as fine. That's where we're at. I'm going to retweet my tweet, see if we can get a few more friends in here. Then we're going to get going. I am full of meats, so I apologize if I am a little loopy. I'm not that loopy, but I don't have the meat sweats, but I am full because I didn't grill today. This Labor Day, I did not grill. Go over to the main. Here we are in the main. But I did get invited to a place where grilling happened. So I had a burger and I had some spare ribs, some barbecued spare ribs that were excellent, real good. And then my mom made a charcuterie board. So I had some meats and cheeses and olives and peanuts and grapes. It was real good. Very good. I ate very well today. And there was a little bit of dessert, and I had a cookie, I didn't go overboard with dessert because I knew that I would be streaming, and I did not want to imbibe so much sugar. But it was a nice time. They're my parents' friends, but they're lovely people. And the best part is these friends live 4 houses away. So I just hung out until, hey, Lashbrook, welcome. I hung out till like 8:30, and then I was like, peace. Walked in the house, turned some equipment on. I had already set up a bunch of stuff. I already had this in place, ready to go. Just had to focus my camera, turn on some lights, and I was ready to stream, which is, pretty turnkey because I leave my overhead camera set up. I leave this webcam set up. Not on all the time, but set up. Lord Christ says, I grilled the most perplexing Dan Reichert meal. Grilled cheese sandwiches. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Grilled cheese are an excellent staple food. Always a good time. Me, I go the mayonnaise route. Some people hate it. They hate the taste of mayonnaise that has been done on a grill pan or a frying pan or whatever. They hate it. They're much more about the butter. I like the mayonnaise. I think it's great. The best part of parties as an adult is just being able to leave whenever you want. It's so nice. Like I said, they're four doors down. I should say, not five, doors down, and it's just like, okay, I gotta go do a thing. My folks still over there, still having a good time. They'll come back when they want to come back. No problems at all. Totally all right. I reminded my mom how to turn the flashlight on her phone. So hopefully they will be cool. And if they're not cool, we'll fucking figure it out. All right, I got to put little tiny stickers here. And I don't remember the number, so let me look that up. 1 and 1. These are small stickers. I don't like them. We're going to be dealing with a lot of small stickers on this stream because we're working on the head. One thing, it is not 3 doors down, no. One thing that is nice about this kit is that we started working on it on Saturday towards the end of the stream, but I didn't have to do any stickers because we started with the body and not the head. This does remind me, I have talked about this pretty recently, how I build in order, and to some people, that's wild and foolish because they don't build in order. They build however they want to build. And I could, like I said, I could always, like, a lot of these kits, the waist is the last thing you build. So you go from working on the arms, attach the arms to the chest, and then you start working on the feet and the legs. It's like, I could build the waist anytime. I don't know why I like going in order. Honestly, the main reason I like going in order is because I imagine there exists a person who is just watching and there is a part of the build they don't understand. So they Google the name of the kit or they search on YouTube the name of the kit. They come across my stream and then they're like, all right, well, it's towards the back of the book, so I'll fast forward to that. And then they find it. And they wouldn't or they'd have to really search around if I built out of order. So I am solving a problem for a fictional person that I made up, which isn't great, but it's better than making up a person to be mad at, which is what a percentage of the internet does. I am not making up that person. Other people made up that person. I don't have a lot to say, but we do have to continue our ongoing coverage of Elon Musk. As you know, since Elon took over, their revenue has dwindled, has gone down 60% at least. And even putting in Twitter Blue, which was apparently going to save the company, that 60% has not bounced back. And it is, of course, the fault of Elon Musk, the people he worked for him, various changes. The way the weather was blowing in general about online ads certainly didn't help, but mostly it is a lack of confidence in Elon Musk. And then, of course, a large swath of the people that worked in that department that people had contact with, got laid off or quit. And so people don't, a lot of times ads get bought because of relationships that get formed. And those forms went away. But actually, if you listen to Elon Musk, it's not because he took over. And it's not because advertisers are scared of what he was going to bring to the table vis-a-vis racism and making it a place for garbage disguised as free speech and a lack of accountability. No. It's because the Anti-Defamation League, they put pressure on advertisers to not advertise on Twitter. And how did this group he thinks he should ban. how did ADL do this? What is this network of the Anti-Defamation League? Is it a secret cabal of Jewish folks, like some people would say? Are they in it with businesses and secretly controlling those businesses? Is it a conspiracy against Elon Musk? No. No. They just told advertisers, hey, look at the tweets your advertisement comes around. That's all it takes. All it takes to get advertisers scared of where their ads live is to tell them where their ads live. Hey, look, your ads come below Nazi shit. Do you want that? And the advertisers go, no, we don't. Even if those people personally are scumbags. And certainly, I am not trying to make the case that these people are not above reproach. Certainly not. In the same way that I don't want to paint the Anti-Defamation League as heroes. Because I'm sure that there are some people who consider their job at the Anti-Defamation League a job. In the same way that I know people who suck shit that worked at Planned Parenthood. Because the place does not make the people make the place. But as an organization, if the thing that is hurting your business is the Anti-Defamation League, if the Anti-Defamation League existing and telling advertisers, hey, look at this shit, is enough for advertisers to not want to advertise on your thing sucks. It's probably you. What if we just lean into the Nazi shit and be surprised that it's not making things better? Yes. But that's it, right? Anything else is window dressing. Anything else is lip service. It comes down to it that businesses are incredibly conservative and they want to make a lot of money and they don't want to lose customers and they don't want to seem shitty, especially if they are shitty. If they are shitty, they don't want to appear shitty. So they will do whatever they can to spend the least amount of money to make the most amount of money. And especially when often advertising on there does not lead to sales or brand recognition. Because all you have to do is go on Threads and make a stupid post. And you'll get as much, if not more, engagement than you would spending consistently more and more money to advertise to people that will just block you. Because they block ads and they block advertisers. Not everybody, but lots of fucking people do. Again, not everybody blocks, but many, many people block on site when they see ads. Occasionally I don't, but most of the time I do. I also block people who do ads because those people are the weirdest people in the world. The idea that you spend money, not even to advertise your business or your product. You spend money to advertise your Twitter account. Forget the fact that you spend money on a monthly basis to have Twitter Blue, which allows you to advertise. You advertise a tweet that you wrote because you want to increase your own engagement. That's nonsense. I don't feel bad for these people, but I do feel weird about them. I want to say Elon made use of the block feature not long after saying it needed to be removed. Yes. Oh, Elon Musk blocks people all the time because he doesn't want to feel bad. He spent a lot of money and damaged several of his own businesses, short term, perhaps long term, but certainly short term, to be the king of the internet. And he's the king of garbage. At the very least, a chapter of his legacy will be that he ruined a place that some people really liked. And that is a portion of his legacy, which is, of course, wild to fucking think about. All right, so we've got a clear piece. We can put on the head, which we will look at right now. We can put some gray on here and then put the clear over it, or we can put a sticker on the clear, and I don't know how I want to do this. So we're going to play around with it because I am not sure what is going to look better, but we are going to figure that shit out together, friends. Claim day has nothing to do with the downfall. Yes, according to Elon Musk, it is a concerted effort by people to ruin the website that he saved. Which is clearly not the case. It just isn't, friends. But that's enough about Elon Musk because we can't spend all our time on Elon Musk. Let's see. What do we got to talk about here? All right. We're gonna talk wrestling. Let's start out with the show that I watched all of, which was AEW All Out. I have now seen most of Payback, but I had to stop watching Payback because I was going out to eat. I was going over for food here for a barbecue, and I did not finish. I did not finish watching all of the pay-per-view for Payback, the WWE pay-per-view. But I have watched all of All Out. I watched all of All Out. I'll keep saying it like that because I think that is a funny way to say it. I watched all of All Out. Okay, so how does this head go on? Am I doing this right? And I would say for a pay-per-view where most of the card was built on Wednesday and Saturday, and one of the matches was announced via Tony Khan's Twitter, and one of the matches had a replacement of who was in it that originally was one person, and then that one person got fucking fired, got his contract terminated with cause. Pretty fucking solid pay-per-view. Now, before I start running down the card and talk about the moments I liked and what I didn't, there is an elephant in the room. And that elephant in the room is, this was an excellent pay-per-view. In some ways, I would say it was better than the previous pay-per-view, All In. The main event was a match I really liked. It is wild to me that a guy that for free wrestled in comedy matches that I pitched to him in the basement underneath a grocery store last night wrestled in the main event of a major wrestling company's pay-per-view at the place where the Bulls played, at the United Center in Chicago. It is a wild, weird world where that happened. It is weird. Life has twists and turns, and is wild as hell. I'm of course, talking about the main event for the the international title for AEW, where Jon Moxley defeated Orange Cassidy and became the new champion. A title that Jon Moxley is bigger than and does not need. Now, did Orange Cassidy's title reign need to end? Yeah. The dude wrestled a lot. He held the belt for a very long time. They were telling the story of his hand being bad, his back being bad. Not everyone, Lashbrook, but a lot of people were bleeding. Jon Moxley did not bleed. Orange Cassidy did. Ricky Starks did. Bryan Danielson did. There was actually not a lot of blood. It was just that the people who bled a lot. Now, my real fear is that Jon Moxley, he'll defend that belt. He wrestles quite a bit. He'll wrestle on pay-per-view. He'll get some wins. He'll make some people look good in the process of beating them. That'll be fun. My fear, and my fear for this whole time, as soon as they were clearly building to this match, was this might be it for Orange Cassidy. This might be his ceiling. Now, I don't know that, but that's what my gut tells me. My gut tells me that this might be the height of Orange Cassidy. You know, maybe he and Best Friends will get a trio run. Maybe they'll win the trios belt at some point. Maybe he'll win the TNT Championship at some point, another mid-card title. But a bunch of people are convinced this is his ticket to main eventing more pay-per-views, going for the world title, that sort of thing. And I don't know. I don't think I feel that. My fear is that this is it for him. This incredibly long title reign is the end of the Orange Cassidy experiment, and he will be relegated once more to comedy spots and goofiness and silliness. And I'm worried about that because he's a fucking fantastic wrestler, and he has proven the haters wrong on so many occasions and worked so fucking hard to get his spot. And having a mid-card title for a very long time and putting on goddamn bangers and being the workhorse, the workhorse champion was fantastic, and it's a great story, and I am afraid that story has come to an end. Because I don't know if they see him as a main event man. To me, he main evented now people were like, oh, he was always going to main event that pay-per-view. Well, no, we didn't know that. Most likely, it was going to be Ricky Starks versus CM Punk in a strap match for the real world title. That would have been the main event. And people were like, no way that Punk was going to be the main event. It's like, you're telling me you don't think that CM Punk wasn't going to main event a pay-per-view in Chicago, Illinois. He was 100% going to main event that in a strap match. Like, there's no way he wasn't going to main event. So that didn't happen. They decided to have a title match in the main event, which I like. I do enjoy that. And it was Moxley versus Orange Cassidy. In my heart of hearts, I think that Orange Cassidy should have dropped it to an up-and-coming talent. It should have been somebody on the rise beating the world beater. Beating Orange Cassidy, the man that was like on his way out. Because here's the thing, right? The story they told was that this guy's fucking tired. He keeps pulling out. He keeps pulling off the victories. But everything is catching up with him. His body can't handle it. He's going to lose. Jon Moxley doesn't need those excuses to beat someone. Jon Moxley can beat someone because Jon Moxley is a tough-ass wrestler and very good at wrestling. Jon Moxley is who Bryan Danielson, the best wrestler in the world, thinks is the best wrestler in the world. And he says, and he beat Orange Cassidy. To me, Orange Cassidy being broken and then beating Jon Moxley would have been the bigger deal, and I think the better move. I don't make these decisions. I don't have a say in this thing, obviously. But I also don't ever tell me to trust the process, because the process is fucking flawed. At its best case scenario, the process can be interrupted by someone jumping into the crowd and breaking their fucking leg. Maybe somebody is going to jump off a top rope and land on someone and break their arm. That happens. It happens in wrestling. Plans change all the time. I shouldn't trust the process because the process is often fucked up. Yes, Lashbrook. There was a Cry Me a River chant. It was actually, Lashbrook, it wasn't that loud because we didn't hear it on TV. It was loud in the crowd, and that recording picked it up. But I will tell you, I never heard a Cry Me a River chant. So it wasn't that loud. There were plenty of incredibly loud chants. And we'll talk about it. So that's my thing. I think the match was fucking good. There were a lot of near falls that I thought were fantastic. I think they actually, Jon Moxley, Orange Cassidy, work very well together. I think they really put on a fantastic performance. One of my favorite matches on the card. I'm bummed about the ending. I'm not bummed about the work the two of them put in. I thought the two of them put in a lot of great work, and it was very fun to watch. So we'll talk about it as we go through. 0 Hour had started with a battle royale. A battle royale that was won by Hangman Adam Page, where the winner could pick a charity that would win, I believe, $50,000 out of AEW's money. But some people were putting it like, oh, that's Tony Khan's money. Anyway, that went to a Chicago charity for teachers, or for kids learning in Chicago, school programs in Chicago. Hangman Adam Page, former teacher. It is very fun that he continues to be supportive of teachers and kids learning and all of that. It was really nice. That's a fun battle royale. There was a little bit of business where my favorite moment in it was Trent from Best Friends was still in there, and he and Hangman Adam Page ended up working together. I believe for the first time they've ever done any kind of, not even a tag, they were just helping each other out. And Trent went for the hug, and Hangman was like, so they high-fived, and I think that's very funny. He's like, I don't know if we're on hugging status, and that is a very funny way to play around with both of their characters. That was some good shit. Tony Nese talked shit at the beginning and then immediately got beat up, which was great. Dalton Castle was caught by the boys, so his feet didn't touch the floor. And then Angelo Parker got thrown, and he was like, put me down. So they put him down, and he got eliminated. And that was funny, because he wasn't specific that he wanted to be put down on the ring apron. I thought that was pretty good. And it was a lot of nonsense. Scorpio Sky, I guess, is back from his second round of injury, which is awesome. Good for him. I thought it was pretty fun. I love that Adam Page won. Also, that crowd did not boo Adam Page, which is lovely. Good job, Chicago. You only kind of booed one group the whole night that were the good guys, and they don't mind if you boo. So that's probably actually why you booed. Hikaru Shida, Sky Blue, and Willow Nightingale teamed up to take on Athena, Diamante, I should say, and Mercedes Martinez. Mercedes Martinez and Diamante are teaming up quite a bit. And Athena is the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. Athena and Billy Starks were there. Billy Starks slightly injured, not clear to wrestle. She is probably going to get a title shot. Right now, there is a storyline where Athena and Diamante and Mercedes are all heels. Billy Starks is not a heel, but Billy Starks likes Athena, and so you've got a heel face friendship going, and it's pretty great. And so basically, Billy Starks is now Athena's underling or goon, which is pretty fun. That is a fun little story happening on Ring of Honor, and great for Billy Starks to have some stuff going on. Good for Athena. Athena should be on fucking weekly television. She should be on any of those shows. It was cool to see her at pay-per-view. I don't watch enough Ring of Honor. I am aware culturally of what happens in Ring of Honor, but I am not watching enough of Ring of Honor to actually know what's going on there, which is a shame because a lot of the wrestlers I like are on Ring of Honor. Other things that happened on this. The third match in the 0 Hour was The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, who is Billy Gunn. He's Daddy Ass there, not badass. He was only badass for one night. Taking on Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh for the trios titles. Now, of course, Team Jarrett has Karen Jarrett and Sanjay Dutt in their corner. But don't worry, because The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn had backup. And that backup was, of course, in the form of Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman appeared on Collision, and then Dennis Rodman showed up. It was, holy shit, this thing was fucking funny. So, Dennis Rodman at one point, when the referee is distracted, gets in the ring. Dennis Rodman takes Jeff Jarrett's guitar and hits Satnam Singh, a giant monster of a man in the head with a guitar and hits the guitar over his head using Jarrett's move basically against their team. It's very fun. The ref doesn't see it. Now, clearly, after you interfere, even for the good guys, one thing you need to do is get out of the ring. Dennis Rodman did not get out of the ring. He clearly needed to. You can see, if you watch it, this is 0 Hour, you can watch it on YouTube. It's a pre-show. You can see badass Billy Gunn, or not, sorry, daddy-ass Billy Gunn, walking over to Dennis Rodman and being like, hey, could you get out of the ring? Dennis Rodman didn't. So the referee, Aubrey, had to pretend she did not see Dennis Rodman with clearly a broken guitar in the ring and had to pretend she didn't see it. And people like to talk about how referees are terrible, but referees have to do nonsense like pretend you don't see Dennis Rodman. It's so silly. It was overbooked and kind of nonsense. It's good, though. Let's see. Oh, also, when Daniel Garcia... I only see one giant man in the ring. Exactly. When Daniel Garcia got eliminated, he danced his way up the ramp. He just bad danced his way up the ramp. And that's commitment that I can appreciate. That's some A-class good dumb shit. To dance the sads away. Good times in the pre-show. All right, so our opening contest was Better Than You, Baby, which is Adam Cole and the world champion, MJF, defending their Ring of Honor tag team titles that they won a week ago against the winners of a tag team battle royale, which in this case was the Dark Order, John Silver and Alex Reynolds. The Dark Order have gotten very heelish on Ring of Honor, but they haven't acted that heelish. They did act a little heelish against the Elite, but not that bad because it was justified. But on Ring of Honor, they are heels. And they didn't really explain that. They were just like, oh, wow, Dark Order is real aggressive tonight. And it's like, yeah, tell us why. Why are they aggressive tonight? And they didn't. They chose not to explain what was happening, and that's, I think, a mistake. Anyway, they cheated. Evil Uno was being evil. He tried to cheat. There was a part where MJF, his back, they targeted his back, and he had to leave. And so Adam Cole was the brave babyface, and they were like, just take a count out loss. Like, you retain the belts. Like, what? But he wouldn't. He was going to power through, and he's going to win because he was disappointed at what was going on. I think the Dark Order should have won. I think Adam Cole disappointing MJF should have. I think here's how I would book it. MJF rallies. He makes the big comeback. He hits the double kangaroo kick. And then Alex Reynolds pins him and just rolls him up and pins him. Rolls him up, pulls the tights, and pins him. And then MJF is the one that continues to disappoint Adam Cole. They didn't do that. They had them win pretty decisively. I think that's a bummer. That's not how I would do it. But I also wouldn't book Dark Order clearly only on Ring of Honor. I will put them on goddamn television because they are great. And Johnny Hungy, a.k.a. John Silver, is a fucking star. Give that man a belt. Any kind of belt. But also, Dark Order having the belts would be cool. Because the only way this will be okay to me is if they actually have MJF appear on Ring of Honor. Because he is a champion in Ring of Honor. If he actually appears in Ring of Honor and in 2023 does Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, because he finally just started doing Rampage, and if he then also makes an appearance for Ring of Honor, that would be very funny. But yeah, who knows? He's all beat up. The story continues. But the crowd was into it, and that's nice. Samoa Joe versus Shane Taylor for the Ring of Honor TV Championship. The reason why this is immediately after the Cole match is, okay, Cole and MJF are slowly walking to the ring, and then Samoa Joe's music just plays. And the announcers kind of sound like, oh, I guess Samoa Joe just really wanted to get this match going. Samoa Joe's not wasting any time. Samoa Joe walks down the ring and kind of shoulder checks MJF. And you're like, huh. And then some people will go, oh, because many years ago, there was a segment where Samoa Joe is being led by security to the ring to protect other people, not to protect Joe. And they have a bunch of security. And of course, that security, because this is television, is independent wrestlers. And one of those independent wrestlers is MJF. And because he was the littlest guy, he's walking in front of Samoa Joe so you can see Samoa Joe. And he's just doing what he's supposed to do. And Joe, as a heel, decides, I'm not going to let this guy walk in front of me. And so he shoulder checks this guy who is just being paid pennies, hoping that he can make a handshake and a connection and say, oh, my name is MJF. You should check me out on YouTube or whatever to whoever will listen. But yeah, so that happens. And now, many years later, MJF is the world champion. Samoa Joe gives him a shoulder check. And then MJF runs into the ring and attacks our boy Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe puts him in a chokehold. And now some people have decided that that is a reference to Jack Perry and CM Punk's backstage brawl. Because the story goes that Jack took a swing at him, and then Punk basically neutralized him. Which, who knows if that's exactly how it went down. We don't know, but that is one version of the events. So people were immediately like, oh, that's a reference. But also, Samoa Joe chokes people out all the time. That's kind of his thing. And then also you have to take into account that this is really playing off of this one moment on AEW or WWE television where Samoa Joe was rude to MJF in character. And that is very funny. And that is seemingly setting up MJF versus Samoa Joe, which will be fucking awesome. That will be cool as hell. I am excited about the possibility of that match. So, sure. You know what? Sounds good to your friend Pat. Also, Shane Taylor is a fucking great fucking wrestler. I'm glad that Shane Taylor is in Ring of Honor. He had an incredible TV title run back in the day. And then Joe made him look fucking good. This was the first of two big men hitting each other. It is not the meat match that you will remember. If you remember anything about this show, you will remember the other two big beefy boys hitting each other. You will not remember this one. But it was still good. And also, Shane Taylor's punches look like he is punching you. They look like they hurt. He has very good jabs. He looks legit in the ring. He was not going to beat Samoa Joe. It is cool that he got a pay-per-view payday. Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin. Luchasaurus won. This match sucked. I am sick of Darby Allin. I am sick of looking at his face. The addition of Nick Wayne does not make this better. It is a cool thing for Nick. Hey, Nick Wayne is in the mix with Christian Cage. That fucking rules. Luchasaurus as a heel doesn't really do much for me because here's the thing. Obviously, Luchasaurus, giant wrestling man, big man, wears a monster mask. He wears he is a dinosaur. That is a funny gimmick. Luchasaurus, the name Luchasaurus is very funny. And the fact that he hangs out with like it is a funny joke that they're not really playing up as a joke anymore, and I'm kind of bummed about that. So I would much rather he be a face, and it's weird that he isn't. I think Christian's heel work on the mic is second to none. He has been fantastic. He is phenomenal. Obviously, he and Nick Wayne should be in the mix because Nick Wayne's father has passed away. That is part and parcel with the story of Nick Wayne being trained by his father, Buddy Wayne, who also trained Darby Allin. That's part and parcel with the story. That's an important element of the story. But I am just like, I don't know about this. I didn't care about this match ever. Nothing made me care about this match. And the match itself was totally fine. The idea that Christian was going to hit a chair onto Nick Wayne, who was on top of another chair, as punishment to distract Darby, I thought was very good. I thought that was a good bit of business. That was some good shit. But overall, that was whatever. And then a bunch of baby faces rush in the ring to try to help out Darby Allin, as if Darby Allin has a bunch of friends in the locker room, which I don't believe because there has been no character development to make me think that is the case. But you know what? Sure. Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Here it is, friends. The meat match. The match with unbelievable chants from the crowd. The entire crowd loving it, having a great time, given time. This match is just about two big brawlers who don't like each other. And it was great. It was like the perfect length, plenty of high spots, lots of power moves, no comedy. The crowd provided the comedy. And the crowd provided the comedy by chanting things with meat. Now, if you were saying, Pat, I understand that large men with maybe they've got they got some weight on them, that you might hear a meat chant. But I'm a little confused, Pat, about why this is the case. Well, what's the story? The story is that on the New Day podcast, they were talking about their dream matches, who they would most want to see or most want to wrestle. And for Big E Langston, Big E, that was Goldberg. And he was kind of silly. They were kind of joking with him, and he was kind of silly. And he was like, I don't care about your 5-star matches. I don't care about your work great. I care about big, meaty men slapping meat. That's what he wants to see. He wants to see big, meaty men slapping meat. That's the kind of match he wants and he likes. That's Big E's thing. In this case, Miro versus Hobbs, these were some big, meaty men slapping meat. And it was really fucking good. And the crowd was into it. They chanted meat forever instead of fight forever. They chanted holy meat instead of holy shit. It was unbelievably great. At one point, they were just chanting meat all the time. And you're like, oh, Pat, did that take away from it? No, it didn't. The crowd became part of the show in a way that sometimes is awful, but in this case was not awful because it was from a place of love and it was celebrating these two guys who haven't always had the best place on the card, have sometimes been built up just to put other people over, who were just fucking going for it and having just a goddamn slobber knocker of a match. It was so fun to watch. The crowd was so into it. And it was so wild. And then Hobbs, after the match, went for the handshake. And he and Miro did the arms clasped thing. The thing you, the meme. The two arms clasping. The white guy, white guy and the black guy clasping hands. And they did that pose. And it was badass and cool. And I was like, oh, cool. Maybe Hobbs is going to turn face after this. That would be nice. Maybe these guys are going to fucking tag together. And just as I'm thinking that, boom, he hits Miro from behind. And it sucks. Because the crowd gave them a standing ovation, which is cool as hell. And then they had to ruin it. But that's fine. But then, who's out there kicking off her high heels, running down to the ring with a chair to save her man? That's right, CJ Perry, better known as Lana from the WWE, because Miro was Rusev in the WWE. Lana shows up with a chair, and she hits Hobbs, and he shakes it off, and then he stares her down, and then Miro grabs that chair and hits Hobbs, and then Miro and CJ Parker stare at each other, and then Miro walks away, because Miro has abandoned his God and abandoned his wife. He does not need either. That is the thing he said in storyline, so he paid it off there, which is weird. We don't know if CJ Perry's in there for a while. Apparently this was a just like maybe one time or a small time thing. We don't know. I don't think Lana is going to wrestle. I believe she has not since she was laid off. I think it is very funny that she was involved in that. It was so cool because the crowd was so into that match, and then they were also kind of psyched to see Lana. I do not know if she will have a Russian accent, which she does not have. That was made up for television. I don't think she should. I think she should just be CJ Perry, and that'll just be it. But it was cool, and it was very fun, and that was a good match at a good, weird time. So I was into it. I was into that contest. And then they couldn't have known. When AEW booked this card, they couldn't have known that crowd was going to pop so hard and get so loud for two meaty men slapping meat. But they were. And so Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho for the TBS title. It was an uphill battle for them. I thought that match was great. It had some interference, but it didn't, in my opinion, did not take away from the bout. It has been a weird time for that. People were mad that Chris Statlander did not defend that title at All In, and I agree. This card had two matches featuring women. One was in the pre-show, which is still one more match than we found on in All In, which only had one match featuring women. So that was nice. Chris Statlander and Ruby Soho have a great chemistry. Ruby looked fantastic and dangerous. She always does. I must mention that one of the takeaways from this match was that Chris Statlander's special wrestle gear was Zoolander themed, and she did a pout. She did a blue steel pout. She did get a reply, like whatever she tagged on Twitter. Ben Stiller, who did reply, which is very nice, or someone who runs Ben Stiller's social media. We don't know, but that was fun. That at the very least, Ben Stiller's Twitter account acknowledged, and it is good. It is good looking gear. It is, to me, kind of random, but sure. You know what? Sure. But yeah, they went hard, and it was a strong ass match. This was a tough one because the literal build to this match was one day, like last week, Ruby was like, "Hey, Statlander, I want to fight you," and Statlander was like, "Okay," and that's it, and that's a bummer. But they did sell their asses off, and it did go great. And then also we got to further the idea that Toni Storm, since she lost the women's world title, has been slowly losing her mind in a 50s, silent screen actress sort of way, which is very fun. Not silent screen, but like, yeah, 50s actress kind of style. Just very, very good. So there was some good shit there. Chris Statlander, is awesome. We saw Chris in the main event, or the lead up to the main event, which was very cool. Let's see. There was a sign about Saraya, and you're like, oh no, a sign about a British wrestler. Is it like a weird one? Is it like an offensive sign? No. The sign said, Saraya calls fries chips, which is true. She would call that. She would 100% do that. And that was good. I believe our first blood of the night came next. Bryan Danielson versus Ricky Starks. Bryan Danielson fucking broke his arm in a match and was away, and he came back at least a month before people expected him to. And the storyline of this is, a couple weeks ago, our buddy Ricky Starks got mad because he lost to CM Punk because the special enforcer out there for their match was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And Ricky was like, hey, no cheating. So Ricky Starks whipped Ricky the Dragon, and then this week was like, hey, I want a strap match with you at All In. And Ricky signed the sheet. He goes, okay, we're booking the Dragon versus Ricky Starks. Ricky signed it, and then Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was like, hey, I only said the Dragon. There's another guy that goes by the Dragon. And then the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, came out, to lots of people's surprise. And then Bryan Danielson had a fucking barn burner with Ricky Starks, and it was a really fucking good match. I don't have much to say about it, except it was fucking really good. And great, and there was bleeding, and it was fucking rough and physical, and I don't want to watch it again, but I'm glad I watched it. And there was minimal interference, and Ricky Starks, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was on guest commentary, and he was doing a great job of that. He got involved in the match because, he needed to right the wrong, and it was fine that he needed to right that wrong. I think that is totally okay, that he felt the need to get involved, because it was very fucking good. It was a good time. Eddie Kingston and Shibata, Katsuyori Shibata versus the Blackpool Combat Club, and that is Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli. I expected Eddie Kingston to lose this match. I did not expect Eddie Kingston and Shibata to lose to a European uppercut. This is the second time that Claudio Castagnoli, in recent memory, that Claudio Castagnoli has won a match with one of his moves that is a setup for one of his finishers and not his finisher. I think that's pretty fucking cool. I am a little tired of Eddie Kingston versus Claudio. I kind of think that needed to end at some point. I wish it had. It is not. It will continue. Eddie and Shibata is a great fucking tag team. I'll watch that again. I'll see that. That's some good shit. They did good. They worked well together. Wheeler Yuta just gets the shit beat out of him all the time. He is very good at getting the shit beat out of him in matches. He sells very well and takes care of people. And he still looked good. Eddie's chops were fucking fantastic, but also in the match right before that, people were getting whipped with a belt, and those chops seemed way worse. So that was probably tough. Still good, though. Very hard hitting. Really great. And, Claudio and Wheeler won. I love that. There's a spot where Shibata hits Yuta so hard that Nigel McGuinness, he never had a retirement match, but he is actively no longer competing in the ring. Nigel McGuinness that was so hard that Nigel said, "I never want to wrestle again." And that is incredible. Also, for this match, we had Taz and Nigel McGuinness and Excalibur, all former wrestlers. Now, Excalibur certainly didn't hit the heights of either of them. He retired very early, but he still was a wrestler. That's why he wears a mask, because he's the man in the mask. But it was very funny. It's always funny when Taz and Excalibur make noise when a move hits, because they know that move sucked to take, and was, and also when you added Nigel and all three of them are wincing because of a thing, that is very fucking funny to me. That is a funny good time when they're all just like, no. You know that move hurt, and hurt very, very much. I'm going to get through these real quick because I want to move on to the Pause for the Cause. But I will say, Kenny Omega versus Takeshita. Takeshita was destined to win this match. I thought the match was great. Very few boos, if any, for Kenny. People know they want to hate Takeshita, even though he's impressive. They know they hate Don Callis. Don Callis did try to cheat. It was annoying, but it was still fine. Kenny in singles matches still feels very special. Takeshita winning is important for him, for his character. But yeah, Kenny lost 2 matches in a row. All spoilers, all of the Elite have lost 2 matches in a row, except for Hangman, who won $50,000 for charity, which is very nice. But he won. But the rest of the Elite are losers. This match was fun. It lived up to the hype. I would love to see. At some point, this story needs to end. I'm ready for it to find a conclusion. That's probably not going to be. That might not even be Wrestle Dream. That might be, November. That we drag this out to November. I don't know. But it was a really good match. Bullet Club Gold versus Young Bucks and FTR. This was a story of Young Bucks who got booed but seemed to like it. Not really trusting FTR not really trusting them. That was nice. And then, of course, the Bang Bang Gang, Bullet Club Gold, really trust each other, really work well together. This has been a fucking phenomenal year for those goofy boys, the Guns. Billy Gunn's sons have had a great year. They are in such good company. Their stock has risen so much. I would say this is better for them, being the Goobers in this crew is actually way better for them than being tag champions for their quote-unquote fluke win. I think this is such a better story. Bucks, again, lost. FTR lost. It was fine. I kind of want them to be done. I don't really need them working together against a common villain. I don't really need that. I think if they got to do that, it's fine, but I don't really need it. And then Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley was a bloody mess. There were times where I believed I did not want Jon Moxley to win. I wanted Orange Cassidy to win. Is that my biases where the fact that I know Orange personally and and professionally and I wanted him to win? Yes. Is it also because I think this is his ceiling? Yeah. I do think that, unfortunately, this might be as far as he goes. I would love to be wrong about that. I would love to be wrong. That this is not the ceiling for him. And that he's got main event potential again. But I don't know. It's always cool to hear Jane. It was very fun that in full tracksuit outfits, Chris and best friends and Trenton and Chuck walked Orange Cassidy to the ring. I wish that Danhausen was cleared so he could have walked there too, because that would have been even better. And bring in Romero. Who cares? Orange Cassidy is not the international champion anymore, and that's a shame. He wrestled a ton of fucking matches. He worked his ass off. He really elevated what is a mid-card belt, and he had a very special run, and I hope that people don't forget that when he doesn't really do much for a bit. And I hope there's more cool shit for him in the future, because he deserves it. He's a great dude and a great worker. So yeah, I don't know. I believed the whole time. I believed Jon Moxley is going to put over Orange Cassidy. Like he already did verbally, but he's going to actually lose this match because that would not hurt him at all. But nope, now Jon Moxley is the third champion of that belt. The guy that is the two-time world champion that feels bigger than that belt. I don't know. I'm bummed about it. I did not like that choice. I didn't make it. I didn't like it. Anyway, that was wrestling. This was a really fucking good show. And I enjoyed it very much. Also, at one point, Orange Cassidy went from his little joke kicks to actually doing big physical kicks, and that's great. And then Payback. The only thing I want to say about Payback is Jimmy Uso is going to Raw, and that's weird. They're splitting up. The Usos are going to be on different brands. Two brothers that have never, like they've had little singles runs when one was injured, but they're on different brands, and that's weird. Anyway, now's the part of the stream where I want to talk to you about ways you can support the channel. A hard pivot to promotion. If you are currently a subscriber, please throw the Barricade, the Lego, the Scythe, the Tier 2 Blue emote in the chat. Being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here through Cash Money, your Prime Gaming token. Also, it's September. You could save money by being a subscriber if you wanted to do that. Obviously, subscribing is optional, but you don't see ads during the stream, which is nice. You get cool emotes, which is also very nice. And you know that you are supporting the stream and allowing me to continue to buy model kits, which is nice for everybody. Me. Of course, it's September, and you can save money on your 1 month, 3 month, or 6 month sub. So if you want to buy a subscription and save a little bit of money, now's the best time to do it because it's September. So that's pretty cool. You could also use your Prime Gaming token if you have Amazon Prime linked with your Twitch. Use that token. If you're not using it for me, make sure you use it for someone. Yes, presented by Teamfight Tactics, indeed. This is a sponsored thing. It is not. They did 1 year where Subway sponsored it. That was very good for September. But this year is Teamfight Tactics, and that's fine. You could gift a sub. Now, gift subs won't be cheaper until the 26th, but you could always gift a sub and be the first on the gift sub leaderboard. If you want to share the love, help out somebody in the community. If you're already a subscriber or you just don't want to be one, but you do want to help somebody out, you could subscribe. That would be cool. Also, bits and coins always appreciated. You could join Harold for the cheer leaderboard if you want to cheer. That's another thing you do. We'll get back to building real soon, but I just want to go through my ads. I have a Patreon at patreon.com/PatBear. There's a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. There are different rewards for the different tiers. Consider becoming a patron. It would help me out. That's another way to help me out. You could also go to my YouTube channel and subscribe because, of course, youtube.com/PatBear is the channel. You can go there, subscribe if you want to. While you were there, if you're like, I subscribe, Pat, what if I could give you money through YouTube so that you could make money through AdSense? Well, to do that, you would go over there. You would go over there and you would become a member. And for just $2 a month, you get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. So tomorrow, you will get a comedy video right there for you to watch early before other people get to do that. So that's one way. There is often, let's see, blah, blah, blah. There's also one-time donations. If you just want to help me out once in a while, you don't want to do a monthly thing like we saw there, What about a one-time donation? Because everything I make through Coffee, PayPal, Stream Elements, through YouTube, which includes AdSense, so watching my videos helps me out, through Patreon, and through Twitch, all goes into a fund, and I buy model kits. I literally bought this kit. I looked it up. I bought this kit a year ago, September 2022. This is my backlog for a full fucking year, this AEUG, because it's not super exciting, but it is neat looking. But yeah, I'm finally building this fucking AEUG, so thank you. If you want to decide what I build next, and you don't want me to do a poll for my $10 patrons, and instead you want to be in charge of what I build, well, here's what you do. You go to my Amazon wish list and you buy something off that. Because anything bought on my wish list jumps the queue and becomes the next thing I build. And also gets a dedicated YouTube video where I thank you for buying the thing. So if we go over to my wish list here, we can see I've got Lego sets, I've got model kits, inexpensive kits, expensive kits, fake-ass Lego. I have 2 different kinds of fake-ass Lego. Mold King, which I've built before, and another kit, Building Boat, which I've never built. And I do want to remind you that this Back to the Future DeLorean kit, the box says, Return to Future DeLorean Building Car. It's so fucking fake, it doesn't even have a license to Back to the Future. It says Return to Future on it. I kind of want to build this bootleg fucking DeLorean because it looks so nonsense. I also have regular ass model kits, like Gunpla that I'm building here. Inexpensive kits, expensive kits, kits that have free shipping, kits that don't have free shipping, kits that just never fucking seem to go on sale. But hey, actually, I just noticed it has free shipping on it, but not prime shipping, so I don't know how long it'll take to get here. But the Schwarzette, the Gundam Schwarzette is actually on sale right now, and it's dropped to about $33 with free shipping instead of $41, which is what it was when it first entered the wish list. But I got a bunch of stuff. Like I said, inexpensive stuff, expensive stuff, stuff that I would love to build and you could pick up and I would build on stream. And then also some gear at the bottom because people want options, and I respect those options. You'll be able to wash it, and yes, indeed, Lord Crashington, there is a Back to the Future set for Power Wash Simulator coming soon. Not tomorrow when we play Power Wash Simulator and we check out the last update that happened. That's not tomorrow. That's a future stream. Yes, we'll be able to wash the DeLorean at some point. But I don't want to wash it. I want to build it. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, as an alternative to my Amazon wish list, because some people don't want to shop at Amazon, and I hear you and understand, I have a Throne wish list. You can check out that Throne wish list. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. I sneezed. Okay. Also, you can go to USA Gundam Store, buy a gift card, USA Gundam Store. It comes to you in the mail. You get that gift card in your email, I should say, and then you send me a DM on Twitter, because my DMs are open, or a whisper on Twitch with that gift card code, and then I use that gift card code to, of course, buy a model kit at USA Gundam Store. So you could do that. You don't have to, but you could. All those things are optional, of course. If you want to support me for free, join my Discord. I post build photos at the end of every stream. People post what they're working on. It is a lovely place. I got a couple video links. Pat Bear's Anime Club. The most recent Pat Bear's Anime Club is me talking about an anime from earlier this year called The Fire Hunter, which I thought was pretty good. So check out my review of The Fire Hunter. And then if you haven't watched Baerly Rehearsed, I have a new episode up, or a new one coming up on Wednesday, but the most recent episode of Baerly Rehearsed is up still, if you haven't watched it. And that one, the pun that was in my head that kind of doesn't really give away the joke, but I had the pun dinosaur in my head, like dino store instead of dinosaur. Dino store. Like I had it in my head, it was a shower pun where I was just like dino store. And I worked backwards to write a character for a quick little comedy bit about what would a dino store be. And you can watch that. Enjoy my okay question mark pun. if you want to do that. We are going to talk about some manga, and then we're going to talk about some anime. We'll get that queued up here in just a second. I do want to also, real quick, drink some water, and then we will dramatically transition back to the overhead and get back to building. So we're going to do that right now. All right, we're back. We're back on the overhead. We're ready to go. It's time to continue to work on this arm, and then we're going to talk about a manga. And the manga we're talking about tonight on Manga Monday is, of course, I Grew the Greatest Home Garden with my OP cultivation skill. And you're like, Pat, is this an isekai? No. Is it an overpowered main character? Yes. With a twist. Is it a kicked/banished? No. It's a, you don't get to do this. Surprise, your shit is cool. So, of course, this is a series about how a guy and his younger sister, they're in a feudal magic place where at the age there's a festival, and if you're going to turn 15 that year, you go to this festival and you find out what your skill is. And of course, our guy wants a combat skill. He would love a combat skill because he wants to be an adventurer, so he can help take care of his younger sister. Their parents are not around. I believe I don't remember if they're actually blood related or not. I think they are, but maybe they're like, yeah, I think they're like half siblings. I can't remember exactly what the story was, but anyway, he does not get a combat skill, and so his childhood friends are like, hey, we don't want to party with you because we're scared for you. We don't know what a cultivation skill is. We don't know what a home garden skill is. I've never heard of that, but that doesn't sound like a combat skill, so you shouldn't come with us. But your younger sister should. And obviously our main guy is fucking bummed about that. She's got a rare sword skill, and she kicks ass. She's very good. She is a kind of an airhead and also very lazy, but she is great when she is called upon. So she ends up doing the combat thing. He doesn't end up doing the combat thing. But it turns out his fucking skill rules. And it's great, honestly, if you're like, oh, I'm sick of these overpowered things. Well, it is overpowered. But it's kind of cool because his garden skill... Lord Crashing wants me to hit the dance button. Sure, I'll hit the dance button. I hit the wrong button. Here's the dance button. Punch, 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 punch. I don't know why I'm punching. Anyway, dance for Kenny Omega's neck health. Yeah. So anyway, too much neck stuff. So turns out his garden gets powered up, and he gets powered up. His skills get powered up by monster gems, which sometimes are worth money, but other times aren't. So his sister collects all these gemstones, fighting monsters and getting stronger and going on dungeon runs. And he can make cool shit. And when I say cool shit, I mean like vegetables that taste better than anyone's ever seen. Vegetables that are Japanese and not of that world, that people were like, I don't know what this is. He knows what they would be good in. They sell for high prices. And then also, there's a meat tree. There's just trees that meat grow on. And so he can sell meat. And he sells meats to a restaurant and helps save that restaurant. The older sister of one of his friends. Yeah, there's a meat tree. There's also, at one point in this story, he just fucking grows like mithril and mystical objects. He grows herbs and can create potions. Well, he gets mythical herbs, and then goes to one of the supporting cast is this like um, uh, very kind of spooky, kind of shut in alchemist, and he goes to this alchemist, and he's just like, "Hey, I have these things. Could you make me some potions?" And he makes potions that people have never. He has ingredients, and it's like, "Hey, if you combine this and this, I think you could make this potion that would like cool people down, so they could go to this part of the dungeon no one's ever been to." And he just makes incredibly cool shit. One of his childhood friends that he has a crush on, he ends up, he's still got a crush on. He's helping her out, and she's got like that thing like she doesn't really show a lot of emotion, so like she smiles at one point, and he's just like, ah. But like he doesn't quite get it. He doesn't understand that like other girls also like him, and he doesn't quite get that she probably also has feelings for him. It's fine. That's a fine element. That's not the big deal. There is a like there is a little. She's literally tiny because she's like a race that, not like dwarves, but a race of tiny people. There's like a fun tiny merchant that he makes a deal with. There's a good little cast of characters that are supportive. We're getting into the point where he is running into some trouble with a gang, and right where I left off, they're going to give some problems, but also our guy and his sister aren't going to run into problems, because when these fucking guys show up, don't worry, because there are also cool golems that work there, cool giant earth golems that protect the garden from birds and such, and are clearly overpowered, so they're going to be cool. And also, at one point, he's got a cat that is clearly a monster. It's clearly a monster cat. It hatched out of an egg. How did he grow an egg? We don't know. It's his weird overpowered ability. It is silly in many places. At one point, he goes out to hang out with this girl, and his idea of dressing up is very goofy. Hello, Box Commander. Welcome. So I grew the greatest home garden with my OP cultivation skill. Is fun. It is a little slice of life, slow life thing. There's some adventuring. Our character is overpowered, but he is not overpowered in a I am going to destroy the world. I am the greatest of all time. It's not an isekai. It's not a reincarnation. It's just a dude that wanted to be an adventurer, but instead he's just a great magical gardener. And his skill is overpowered, but it's fun overpowered. So it's a fun little read. And again, meat tree. Weird nonsense. Let's talk about some anime. I got 2 shows to chat with you about: Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead, and Sweet Reincarnation. My Zom 100 notes are kind of all over the place. This was episode 7. They're behind because they took a couple weeks off here. If you, while watching this show, were like, I really want to know more about the girl. I want to know more about Suzuka. She was in episode 2, and then she's joined the crew recently. I want to know more about her backstory and her hard life trying to make her domineering father happy and living under his thumb. Well, this is the episode for you, because most of this episode is fucking flashbacks to Suzuka. So what's our story? What's Zom 100? Zom 100 is a dealing with the zombie apocalypse show. We had our guy Akira. He was working in a black company. He was contemplating suicide. He didn't really have much of a life left. One of his saving graces was a coworker that he had a crush on. And that kind of crush, that simple crush that he was never going to act on, was kind of pushing him. But, of course, the boss was having an affair with her, which he knew about. Not that he had a shot, not that he ever pursued her, but it definitely was, there wasn't a lot going on for him. His life was very bleak. And then the zombie apocalypse happened, and he didn't have to go to work anymore. So he has a bucket list that he wants to accomplish before he dies, and now he has his best friend, who tried to help him out in the past and encourage him. Now, his buddy who is hurt, he was very hurt. They're trying to get him back to health, and they're stuck in a weird situation. We have reached the part of the zombie apocalypse where they have had a run-in with a society, a group that has started up. Now, of course, that society is run by Akira's old middle manager, who was verbally abusive and put him down and controlled him. And Akira, who was free-spirited and goofy, he was a goofball. He has started to regress back to how he was at his job. And we see that happening, and then we also see Shizuka watching this happen and watching this kind of goofball that she's been traveling with slowly start to devolve back to, how he was. And she equates that with her own life and how she was, domineered by someone, in this case, her father. So it's interesting to watch, like, the flashbacks of that. Like, her wanting to be a doctor and him thinking that would bring shame to the family because even though doctors make a lot of money, that wasn't the kind of money he wanted to make. And just being, trying to control her full life. She saves a little dog, and then he has that dog killed because he just is a monster. And then she's also watching our guy Akira just getting yelled at by Kosugi, the boss. Kosugi just treating him poorly. Kosugi is basically running a sweatshop operation here. He is kind of controlling zombies by hurting them in order to kind of scare these people who are his underlings. He has a domineering presence because he has management skills. And it's working. Unfortunately, it's working on Akira. And his big plan of, I am going to force, the idea is they made a deal that they would help out for a little while and then they would go on their way. That is certainly not happening. And he is, Kosugi is convincing Akira, manipulating Akira into thinking that he'd be better off just sticking around, which is obviously not true. Shizuka adds something to Akira's bucket list. And is getting ready to go. And Kensho, the friend, they're getting ready to leave. Akira is like, I think I'm going to stick around. He's been broken. Our guy who was, even if he was doing it, even if he was compartmentalizing, he was surviving out there. He was thriving in this zombie apocalypse. He is now kind of a shell of his former self. Let's see. And then Akira kind of Shizuka tells Akira the truth. And then realizes on the bucket list, it says Akira on the bucket list should tell Kosugi off. That is now on his bucket list, is to tell off his former manager who's controlling him. And then Akira ends up doing that. Yeah. And says that he would rather take his chances with his friends rather than working like a slave, which is a nice little callback to his life before this. And then, of course, zombies show up because some guys go out to get some supplies, and there is a zombie within the supplies, and the driver ends up panicking and accidentally freeing the slave labor of the zombies, and everyone's freaking out. There's a whole fight with the delivery team helping out, and Akira kind of coming up with a strategy because he's a born leader. Meanwhile, Kusugi is worthless and helpless in this situation, and actually gets saved by Akira. And then Akira blows up the area, kind of reducing a lot of that hard work down to nothing. And then the people who were there are like, "Hey, we're quitting," because they realize, like, it wakes them up. Like, one, a lot of their hard work is gone because of this situation, and that's, that's probably the reality for a lot of this. But two, they kind of wake up to be like, wait, the guy that was being demeaned actually helped us, and the guy that's been telling us what to do and treating us like shit didn't do anything and needed saving. Huh. So they all are like, yeah, we're done. We're not going to help you. And he's like pleading with them to stay because his support system is, his big plan is gone. And the episode ends with Akira and Kensho and Suzuka driving off to Gunma. That is why they're traveling, because they're looking for Akira's family, who is from that area and might have survived. So this episode, again, really good on Suzuka. Nothing much with Kensho, who has been injured, and that, kind of took him out of the story because you think he would have been able to talk himself into Akira, but he was disposed. Good storytelling. The action came at the end. I thought the action was still good. This show, quality-wise, has suffered a little bit. The first episode was like incredible. The first episode is the best episode this season of anything, in my opinion. It is totally worth checking out just to watch, because it takes a long ass time before the zombies show up. It is just for a long time, sad man living a sad life at a black company, and then things change and it gets, in my opinion, incredibly good. But I love how long it takes to get good. How long it is just living in that. Totally worth checking out. Recommend. And this episode was pretty good. And then Sweet Reincarnation. Okay, so I have been doing my ongoing counter. Does the main character named Pastry get to cook? Because remember, this is a pastry chef from our world who died and got reincarnated in a fantasy world. All he wants to do is cook, but he is often underfoot and in trouble and not able to cook. In this episode, Pastry does not cook. His young fiance, witnesses someone putting on the moves on him. Brioche, who's this older lady who is trying to manipulate our guy Pastry. Licorice runs away, and she wishes she was more like her older sister, who could stand up to bullies and bullying. Pastry's like, look, you don't have to be your sister, just be you. I like you. I'm sorry you saw that it was a misunderstanding, which it was, so he's not lying. And he's like, here's a toffee apple that I made, which is the thing he did cook in a previous episode. It wasn't this episode, but he did cook in a previous episode. So he did get some cooking in. He's like, hey, here's this. Sorry about all this. I'm sorry. Let's figure it out. And then he gets revenge because the sweets he made, he puts in, using his skill to take photographs. He makes a photograph that looks like a painting that looks like a photograph of a Brioche kind of grabbing him as a petty revenge. And then rumors spread that Brioche likes younger men, so that she gets a bunch of marriage proposals from people who have young children, basically being like, hey, we hear you like younger guys, so you should marry our son. He's 8. And so she's humiliated, and that was probably very childish for this guy to do, but whatever. He is in the body of a child, even though he is not a child, and in anime logic, that means he can be childish. I do not know why we have to believe that, but that is generally the case, where sometimes adult men in children's bodies can act like children, and sometimes they can't, and I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason to that, because oftentimes he is too smart for his own good, but sometimes he's very childish. It just happens. Also, Licorice and Pastry's father, Huberic. So Huberic is marrying Pastry off, or not Pastry off, Petra. Petra marrying her off to another family. He's going to consolidate some power. His enemy is fucking pissed about this shit. His enemy is like, all right, I am going to invade my enemy before that marriage happens. So there are plans for that to happen. He's gearing up for a major battle. Like, shit's gonna pop off. Meanwhile, Pastry is gonna buy some goats and chickens for milk and eggs because he is really amping up the whole make foods to sell to other places. He's gonna use his knowledge of pastries and cooking in general to really bolster the area that he lives in, because he's the next lord of the area. He also is going to try to make sugar, and he tries to make a sugar extracting machine, and it completely fails because he's not a craftsman, he's not a scientist. He understands the process, but he doesn't know how to make it real, which is nice. He's not overpowered in that respect. I think that's reasonable that he would not be excellent at that. He can be good at a lot of things. He doesn't have to be good at crafting items that he has in his head. But Licorice, who is in her sister's shadow, is helpful in her own way, because Licorice is like, well, what about using like a grape press instead, for winemaking, to press it the way you want? And he's just like, yeah, that's actually a great idea. It's great. Good job, Licorice. And Pastry's like, okay, I'm going to ask my dad for the Lord of the Land, for a grape press. Sounded like but Licorice for a second. Yes, Lord Crashton, you're right. I said but Licorice, B-U-T Licorice, and you thought I said but Licorice. No. It's just that most of the characters in the show, including the fact that Pastry's dad is named Casserole, like, it's got a cooking theme in weird places, and it's weird to say those names like they are not fucking just goddamn names of food, but whatever. So anyway, he asked his dad for a grape press, but hey, guess what? It is like Dragon Ball's food names. You're right. If they had said, instead of, the various names, we're actually going to call vegetable, if Vegeta was vegetable, like, and they actually translated them, it's similar to that. You're right. Anyway, the various armies and their allies are getting ready for war. They're gearing up for war, and it's spreading. This is turning into almost like a civil war. It's gonna get bloody, and our buddy Pastry, who just wants to cook, but also has the ability to copy magic, and so he can do all kinds of cool magic, like teleport and take photos and all kinds of shit. He can do all kinds of stuff. He can create fire and then transport the fire onto people's faces. That is a skill that he got in like the second episode, because he combined some skills. He should not be able to do any of that, but he can. Pastry's going to have to get involved because we got a civil war going on. And all Pastry wants to do is make sweets and make sugar, but he did not cook anything. He has plans to cook some stuff, and he gave some sweets that he made previously. So that's the story ongoing with Sweet Reincarnation. An anime I would describe as fucking fine. That is a perfectly fine anime. It is an easy enough watch that I do not dislike. It is not Zom 100, which is, of course, the anime, like one of my favorite shows this season is, of course, Zom 100, along with Undead Murder Farce. And I would say Reborn of Vending Machine, I Now Wander the Dungeon, which is actually the best isekai this season. It's always nice when there's a few. All right, friends, I want to hear from you. Now's the part where I turn the mic over to you. This is the end of the stream where I ask, or towards the end of the stream, where I ask, hey, what are you playing? What are you watching? What are you up to? I have finished Goodbye Volcano High. And it is, would you be interested in seeing Netflix live action Zom 100 movie? I've heard mixed things about that. I don't know if I would want to watch it. I would think after I'm done with the anime, maybe. Also, again, I'm not interested in getting Netflix anytime soon. So, like, I guess I'm more interested in that than I am interested in One Piece, but not particularly, I guess. Anyway, I want to hear from you. What are you watching? What are you playing right now? And while you think about that, or you start writing it down, I will tell you that I have finished Goodbye Volcano High. Goodbye Volcano High is beautiful. That is a lovely light novel, visual novel, I should say, not light novel, visual novel series or game. It is really fucking well put together. It's really well written. It is sad, and it is angsty, and it is fun. I highly recommend it. You might consider it a little pricey on the general scale of. I'm gonna see if it's still on sale right now. The general scale of independent games, it is maybe on the pricey side for independent video games, but I think totally worth it. Totally worth checking out. I'm gonna see here. I'm gonna go to this. I'm gonna see how expensive it is right now. It is currently still 10% off, so it's $27 on Steam. I don't know what discount it is other places. I think it might be also on itch. But it's a really good fucking story. I think it is wild in places and like really well done. I highly recommend Goodbye Volcano High. If you're not a visual novel person, you might not be into it. This might be the visual novel that puts you over. It could be the visual novel that goes, actually, this is the visual novel for me. I don't know. I can't make that up for you. But it's really good, and I would say you should give it a shot. See if it's up to snuff for you. Maybe it is. And then I got I'm trying out a new deck. I tried out a Twist deck. I'm playing a Jade deck in Twist, which is a mode in Hearthstone. I'm not super loving it. I'm not loving the meta within Twist. I'm probably just going to keep playing my standard big Paladin deck and my wild rogue decks. I've got a Thief rogue deck, and I've got a big... there's a couple new Death Rattles in this expansion that are great for my Death Rattle deck. So I'm still playing that, and that has been good. I'm still having a good time with that. Reminder, I'll talk about it at the very end here. Tomorrow, I'll be playing the latest expansion that came out the end of last week of Power Wash Simulator. It's Power Wash Simulator update with some new bonus stages, a vehicle, and some locations. We're going to finish the vehicle that I have almost completed, and then we might finish a whole location and then start the other one. We might stop a location and jump to the other one, resetting our progress. I haven't decided yet. It depends on how long it takes to do either location, but we'll get a lot done, and it's going to be a chill, easy night tomorrow. Lord Crasher says, I finished the excavator in the new Power Wash Simulator maps and have been working on the paintball area. Yeah, I think I'm like... arena, I should say. I think I'm like 90-something% done with the excavator, so we'll finish that, and then we'll decide if we're going to go into the paintball or the other location and figure out like which one would be faster to complete, and then do the other one basically, or start the other one. And that'll be a good time, and that is tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, so check in for that. I am now going to read what you wrote about what you're into and up to. Lord Crashington says, would you be interested in Netflix? No, 100? And I answered that, so I'm going to continue. Sorry, I did not notice that that's what you were in there. Ghost Valve is still on BG3. Nice. I mean, hell yeah. There's a lot of game there. I thought I'd work on the AC6 model that came with the expensive version of the game, but it turns out it was a figure. Ghost Valve, yeah, that makes sense that it was a figure and not a model kit. It would have been cooler as a model kit, but hey, included figurine. That's fun. I hope it looks neat at least. I've been watching more Columbo and seeing Leonard Nimoy kill a woman and maybe more people as a doctor. So time well spent, says Lord Crashington. Yeah, Leonard Nimoy as a guest villain on Columbo sounds pretty good. Lashbrook has been rewatching Carol and Tuesday since you have Netflix again and playing AC6. Nice. As stated, I have not had a super interest in getting into Armored Core or Armored Core 6. I've never been a huge Armored Core guy, but I have seen people build basically the heavy arms custom from Endless Waltz, and that certainly appeals to me, that someone has basically made the heavy arms. And then I also saw someone who made basically the Maxter and then was playing with the Maxter and saying the lines. And that's also very appealing to me. So, again, I don't think I'm going to get this. Maybe I'll put it on my wish list. I don't know. Ghost Valve also went the Magic pre-release and went 2-1. Nice. Someone made Bobobo. Excellent. Good to hear. Ghost Valve, congratulations on going 2-1 in the Magic pre-release. I watched a little bit of the Loading Ready Runs pre-release, and I've seen some cards. I've seen some cards from this release that look pretty cool. I like some of the concepts of this one, so I hope you had a good time. Congratulations on going 2-1. Lord Crashington says, I finished the excavator. Oh, you said that already. Yes. Or I read that already. You said it and I read it. All right. But yeah, Power Wash Simulator tomorrow. That should be fun. We're going to keep working on this kit on Thursday. I don't think we're going to finish this kit. We might, because we'll have to build both legs and then the backpack. And then there's a good amount of weapons. The color pages is the weapons. So I don't think we're going to finish this kit on a shield. We're not going to finish this kit on Thursday, but we'll definitely finish it on Saturday. And sometime this week, I'll put up a poll for my $10 patrons about what I should build after this. I'm so excited. New to my backlog is a Zaku 1. Yes, the excavator story is pretty wild. That it's good. But yeah, I got I'm very happy to say that I have a Zaku 1. A kit that we built a lot of Zaku 2s on stream. Let me look up which Zaku 1 this is. This is the sniper type. So it is a Zaku 1 sniper type. So it's got the cool Zaku 1 head, and it's got a big old, nice, long sniper rifle. And as I said, we built a lot of Zaku 2s. I think we only built maybe 2 Zaku 1s. So it is, that should be fun. So we'll build that in the future. I don't know if it's going to win the next poll, but it'll be up in the poll. I've got some good Lego to possibly build in the future. There's some good stuff on my backlog that I think people will be able to get into and be up for. What does this do? This goes into this? No. What is this for? Oh, this goes into foot. This is the ankle. I was like, what is this for that I built here? It's the ankle. All right, yeah. So we got some progress done on the legs and feet. Mostly we did the upper body, but we finished the chest and the head and both arms. So we're doing well on this kit. Again, this is a 2015 kit that was re-released in 2022. So it's the plastic is not that old, even if the design is pretty old, and it's looking pretty good. Let's see what else coming up. Again, Power Wash Simulator tomorrow. Working on this on Thursday. I think on Thursday, we won't talk about wrestling, even if something wild would have to happen on Dynamite. But I know that because of All In and All Out and Payback, I've talked a lot about wrestling. So I think Thursday, I'm going to not talk about wrestling. I will find things to talk about on Thursday that are not wrestling related because I know I have been a bit of a broken record and not everybody loves it. Some people do. Some people do. Not everyone does. Somebody put something on my Discord. In general, it was Lord Crashington with Nyla Rose talking about big meaty men. Indeed. Nyla Rose really enjoyed talking about that match, and I'm glad that she enjoyed it. And I'm glad you enjoyed this stream. Maybe you didn't. Maybe I'm fucking lying and making it up, but I think you had a good time. We are going to raid. We always end with a raid. We're going to find somebody doing some cool shit out there that we want to go support. Here's the thing. Mary Kish is playing Sea of Stars. We're not going to raid Mary Kish. Indeed. A friend of mine is doing fundraising, and we're going to go. Friends of mine are doing some fundraising. I am not telling you that you should donate to my friends. I'm telling you that you should watch my friends and donate if you'd like to, because they are going to do some cool shit. This is Momo and Rara. You know Vectroid. They're doing some fun stuff. They're trying to make a little bit of money. And it would be cool if you could go and support them. The reason why we're not raiding Mary is, one, because I want to raid Rara and hang out. And also, I'm a mod there, and I should hang out in chat. The other reason why we're raiding Rara and not Mary is that some developers, not all of them, but some of the developers of Sea of Stars, some of the top people in that company, in the past, were very shitty to a friend of mine. I will not say who, because she does not want everyone to know. But one of my friends had a very bad time, and so because of that, we're not going to go support Sea of Stars. Because I'm not a games journalist, and I can be fucking choosy, and I can just not support that shit. So we're not supporting that game by raiding. Mary can play that game. No problem with Mary playing that game. But for me, your friend Pat, fuck off, Sea of Stars. Eat shit. Developers of Sea of Stars who are mean to a friend of mine. Anyway, we're going to raid Rara. Bye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.